Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Armchair Booking Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host. My name is Stupendous Steve Barber, and joining me as my co-host is Dangerous Joylan Davis.
Hey, everybody.
And if you notice, we have a special guest with us as well. He's a return guest, and this is actually a continuation of last week because he wasn't able to join us, but we said, you know what, we'll make arrangements for, another time. So
just tell the truth. You saved the best for last. Tell the truth.
There we go. I mean, we had to save the best for last, and that is the Northern Wrestling Federation Tri-State Champion, one Sinclair Octavious Bentley.
Now, hold on, Steve. Before we continue, Dwaylen, if you remember last time, Dwaylen did not give me a proper introduction. Dwaylen, you're on the clock. Let's go.
I figured Steve already took care of it. The Northern Wrestling Federation Tri-State Champion.
It's not the same because you botched it last time. So let's go. I told you I'd get you back. I told you I'd get you.
Tell me.
I told you I don't forget anything. Nothing gets past me, not even in my older age.
Yeah, I mean, he's not lying. I mean, the dude, he is old.
I just don't look it. Thank God for baby faces.
Yeah.
And like I said, last Sunday we had a panel. We were discussing Black History Month, and some of the experiences that some Black wrestlers have had. And we had, of course, Joe Pro James, your colleague there. Y'all may not be on the same sides of things in the company, but either way, you're in the same company. And then we also had Matthew Mims from the NWA and Devin Graves out of Murray. I don't even remember what company he's with because he kind of bounces around a little bit.
Yeah, he kind of bounces around. Let me look real quick.
Sounds like a popular guy to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can't nail him down to one company.
Oh, I mean, yeah,
he's all over the place.
But I mean, we had really interesting stories, and we were definitely missing you because but you had a family engagement, and we're like, hey, you know what, family comes first, and we would never ever bag on somebody for that.
Right.
I mean, there's one thing I love more in this world, and that's money, but that is definitely my little girl.
Right.
So
Exactly.
she definitely trumps all. So.
Right. Devin is with the Nonstop Wrestling Alliance out of Paris, Tennessee, and also Tried and True Pro out of Clarksville, Tennessee.
Okay. I've heard of them before.
Yep. And Tried and True Pro, actually, that's where last weekend, Big Mama, that's where she actually was at down in Oak Grove, Kentucky.
Yep.
So she actually met, I think she actually met both of them, didn't she?
Yeah.
What they were telling
Yep.
us. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, but either way, so go ahead.
I know this is a Black History pod, but I must shout out, Big Mama. That's someone who didn't get her just due early and is finally getting her just due. So shout outs to Big Mama.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because like I said, I mean, even if she's not holding the belt, she's still the leader of the women's revolution in the Northern Wrestling Federation, without a doubt.
Yes.
So, and, but, so with us continuing, we're going to ask you the same questions that we asked the other guys. And, we had some really pretty interesting answers. Wouldn't you think, Dwaylen?
Yeah.
Found out that some people say, hey, you're big and black, we're going to make you the new Kamala.
Yeah.
Straight up. That was one of the things.
I mean, it's one of the things we deal with. We're always going to get the ghetto gimmick because it goes natural.
And then somebody was saying that everywhere they went, they always wanted to be a heel, and no matter what. So it was just, if anybody has never really thought about that, it's pretty eye-opening. So. But the first question I had, and Dwayne, do you remember all the questions that you had? Because I didn't take the notes on your questions. I should have taken notes on your questions, but
I remember most of them. They'll come to me.
Okay. Either that or we can, we'll go watch the other episode as we're watching this and say, okay, your question was here. Okay. We'll get back to it. My first question. In the past, there was a practice amongst some wrestling promoters to only have one black performer on the roster. How would this have affected your own personal motivation if this abhorrent practice was still the norm? And have you experienced something like this even in modern times?
It's eye-opening because not only are you a minority to society, you're also a minority in a hobby for some people. That is just it's just unreal. Thank God that I'm kind of in an era where you don't see that too often. But to learn that a lot of my people that came before me, a lot of people that kind of built the road and the path that I'm on today, the fact that they had to go through that and persevere shows just how strong they are as a person and actually as a performer. You know, to have those odds kind of stacked against you to where, you know, you're I mean, for lack of a better term, you're the blackest thing for miles. You
Right.
know?
Right.
You know,
Wow.
I'm sorry. I'm
No,
sorry.
that's
This is maybe
you're absolutely
uncomfortable,
right.
but this is real. This is
Yeah.
100% real. You know, and I like that these conversations are happening more and more because they're very awkward conversations. Not everyone wants to have these conversations. Not many people are actually comfortable with the conversations that need to be had. Pro wrestling has definitely taken a turn for the better. You know, I think a lot of more eyes are opening, a lot more like, hey, a lot of our African American athletes, a lot of our African American performers, they're just as good as the white counterparts that may be third or fourth generation superstars.
Yeah.
You know, and things are growing leaps and bounds, and I'm happy that I'm growing up in an era where I didn't have to kind of lay the groundwork, because if you know, building a foundation, that's the hardest part to building anything.
Yep. Absolutely.
Right now, I'm just kind of reaping the benefits, so to say.
Dwaylen, do you remember your first question or
Yes.
any of your questions?
You're the Northern Wrestling Federation Tri-State champion. As a black champion in wrestling, what are your thoughts about, my opinion, there's still a lack of representation at the top of the card as far as black people holding world championships. You look at the history of the WWE, there's been 6 world champions, you know, since 1965. And, you know, Impact has had 3, Ring of Honor has had 1. I don't really count AEW yet because they're still too young, but just the lack of representation. I feel like it's getting a little better, but I still feel like there's a lack of representation at the top of the card in the, you know, especially in the main event. What do you think?
Yeah, that's absolutely true. When you look at it, when you look at all the big guys and things like that, I'm not sure if, you know, there's just not a lot of black people signing up to be wrestlers nowadays. You know, growing up in the inner city, you know, we never really, really think about pro wrestling. It's either hoop, or football.
Yep.
That's all. That's all you get.
Yeah.
That's all you get. You know. So it takes a special kind of person to kind of step outside of that comfort zone and to actually get into that. But to kind of answer your question though, it's no secret that we are not represented well at the top of the card. You know, we're not presented as some of us may feel like we are actually owed that. We've earned that. You know, when you look at some of the big guys, when you look at some of the reigns that they've had, you know, like let's say WWE, I'm not sure if you have to beat that out or whatever. You know how they are.
They've never hit us up before, so we say it all the time. WWE.
Yeah.
All right, perfect.
Go ahead.
I won't get you guys shut down or anything like that. Don't come looking at me for money, because I ain't got it for you. But I'm sorry, we're having a serious conversation here.
No, you're fine.
But like when you look at the different title reigns, I mean, more, because yes, there's been more white champions, of course, because history will show you and things like that, where you have more examples to go from. So the very small sample size that us as African American champions have, such as the Big E's, the Kofis, the Bobby Lashley. Sorry about that. I can't believe I almost forgot that name. But you see how their championship reigns may not be as dominant as, let's say, their other counterparts and things like that.
Yep.
To be now, I understand that as a black race, if your daddy black, if you got any of your parents black, we claiming you. So
yep.
so you know, like like I think there are a few and far anomalies or differences that anomalies may not even be the word right now.
Mhm.
Like The Rock and Roman Reigns, who are kind of getting their just due. But I think that's not more for their African American heritage. I think it's more for their Samoan heritage.
Yes.
Because their Samoan hair, like with The Rock, his Samoan heritage was pretty much what they were marketing towards.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
now,
They mentioned, like they would mention, his dad, Rocky Johnson, but it was always, like you said, it was always the Samoan heritage that took the forefront over the African American heritage.
Yep, he's never had his dad's gimmick.
No.
You would, like, when you look at all the other third, fourth generation superstars, they always take after their parents' gimmick at one point, because like McGillicuddy, I forget his real name, but they literally
Joe Hennig,
they literally made him Mr. Perfect Jr. literally eventually.
Yeah.
So we've never seen The Rock do a soul man.
Mm-mm.
Nor I don't think we would ever see it, because that Samoan heritage is what they kind of marketed towards. Because it was
even on his debut, Survivor Series '96, when he came out, it was, it was the Polynesian garb and the, it was that kind of look. There was no hint of his African American heritage.
Nope, absolutely none. I mean, but when you look at him, oh, this guy's mixed. He's definitely mixed. Oh, we getting a run in. Oh, give daddy some loves.
Hi, Avi.
Right in. How you doing?
So you just joining? Okay.
she just want to come to show us her smile.
Hey, go shut that door and you can come back and sit down.
Shout out, Doyle. Love Black Dad. Love him.
Thank you. Come on.
And I will say this though, Sinclair, if you're in the ring holding your title and they said we got a mystery challenger for you, and all of a sudden you hear Lesnar's music hit, just run, because he's beat. We've talked about this. I mean, he's beat the last 4 Black World Champions in WWE. So
I mean, I guess there's a Beast Slayer. I guess it's the Black Slayer. I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh, we may have to edit that out, man. Sorry.
Nah. I mean, I'm pretty sure we've said worse, or probably, I don't know. And I will say this, and because if I don't say it now, I'll probably forget, because I'd mentioned to Dwaylen about the "I'm the Man" video that was produced, and it was about Roger, and it was from, I didn't realize it was from 2013 until here recently. And I told Dwaylen, I was like, Sinclair's in that video. I said, he looks exactly the same. And Dwaylen's response was, well, it really doesn't crack.
Black don't crack. That's what I'm talking about.
So
nobody thinks that I'll be, because I'll be 49 this year, and nobody thinks that I'm close to that. The only thing that gives it away is the gray and the beard. That's all. If I shave the beard and everything off, I look like I'm 12. I have a baby face.
Yeah.
Very funny story for you. So I was working a show down in Paris, Kentucky at Larry D's establishment. I believe back then they were going by PTW, I believe, Primetime Wrestling. I think they go by something else different now. But his beautiful wife, Paige, my mom usually comes with me to my shows and stuff like that, because she's a little roadie. She likes to travel, she likes to see the open road, things like that. So she's a good travel partner for me. So, and I have a biracial daughter. My daughter's mixed, so my daughter used to come with me every now and then. So, so my mom used to accompany me a lot, and Paige kept saying my wife. Like, hey, like, I see your wife came today, and I'm thinking to myself, like, dude, my wife's at home. What are you talking about? Like, so come to find out, my mother looked so young that she thought my mom was actually my wife.
Oh, wow.
Your mom does look young. I've met that. Your mom does look very young.
And I explained to her, like, yo, I'm like, hey, my wife's actually Caucasian. Well, I should say my ex-wife now.
Right.
So I'm like, she's Caucasian, and she just looked at me. She was like, I guess it is true. Black really don't crack, because she looked good. And so every time she sees my mom now, she be, hey, mama. Shout out to Paige Jones. I love you some Paige Jones. What an awesome woman. Shout out to her and Larry.
we got to get him on the show too, Dwaylen, at some point. But all right, so I guess it's my question. I was going to say, well, last week I said, just last week, actually, now 2 weeks ago now, female wrestler Athena, formerly known as Ember Moon, who, by the way, I will always pick to win the Women's Royal Rumble, whether she's actually in WWE or not, because I have picked her every year for the past 3 or 4 years, and she didn't win.
Well, when you're talented, at least you recognize it, but sometimes the higher ups just don't it's all about marketability to them for some reason.
Oh yeah. But she was the target of an audience member shouting racial slurs at her. Has this ever happened to you? And if so, what was the outcome?
Thank God nothing has ever happened to me like that before. Like I'm not sure if you heard me mention on the previous podcast, that type of heat I don't want. I know my surroundings, okay?
Right.
I know what to say and what I cannot say, what I can get away with. And then I'm also ready. I always got my bags packed, ready to go. Because some of the places, I'm not scared to go to these places. Some of the places, little too many cornfields. I'm like, oh God, Jesus. Like, anxiety starts to kick up, But at the same time, I will go to these shows because at the end of the day, when the lights are on bright, and I'm trying to get that heat, I have not yet gotten any nuclear heat like that to where I felt unsafe or anything like that. So I'm sorry Ember Moon actually went through that, but I've thankfully have never ever had to go through that. So I don't really know how to answer that question honestly and truthfully on what I would do. That is.
I don't think I'd want to see it if I saw somebody doing that, me personally, I would. If they're nearby me, I'm going to shut them down. That's just who I am.
Right.
Right.
And
now, I will tell you something has happened to me. And I might get in trouble for mentioning this though, but do you know when you're at an NWF shows and you hear the Roger Ruffin voice, little pep talk before every show?
Yeah.
That is because of, I think that also has something to do with something that happened to me with one of the fans. One of the fans actually called me the N-word. And I heard it.
Really?
Clear as day. And this is fairly recently too. He got, and I went back in the back and I was like, hey, we need to get this guy out of here. We need to get him out of here. And come to find out, so since we didn't kick him out or anything like that, they kind of let him stay. He actually ended up ruining the show.
That was the idiot that with the referee shirt, wasn't it? I do remember you saying he had actually made some kind of remarks even before that.
Yep.
Yeah. And he had Andrew Reed punch him in the face a couple times for his troubles. And those were not working punches. Andrew Reed was pop, pop, pop.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't want to make him podcast famous by actually mentioning it, and give him some clout with it, but for something that ain't right, and just
I haven't seen him at any shows since, because I remember that happened in Covington. I haven't seen him in any shows since. I mean, now granted, I don't know if I'd recognize him without the stupid referee shirt on. But I don't know if he's banned for life or at least banned for a short while. But I mean, I think he ought to be for one, jumping in the ring like that. Two, and even more severe is him saying that to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm all about getting heat, but I like clean, good heat.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't
like when you tried to cut somebody's finger off with a cigar cutter. I mean, that's
hey, that's clean heat though.
That is.
That's clean. That's clean.
Cigar cutter is going to cut it clean.
It is. It really is.
It was clean. Speaking of, I think I might actually hit this a couple more times. But I like I said, clean heat is what I'm all about. I will sit there and I will get heat. You can call me whatever you want, but just keep it fun, keep it, and don't do racial things. That's just, it's not right. It's just not right.
Well, like Steve said on the last show, it's like, you can, you pay to boo or cheer whoever you want, but there's no need to go there. There's no need to throw out racial slurs and be ugly to someone. It's like that crosses a line from just having fun at a show to just being a disgusting person, and there's no need for that.
Yeah, it was after that show that that like the recording of Roger's voice saying, cheer the good guys, boo the bad guys, but any what did he say? Any comments or things insulting somebody's heritage or culture?
Yep.
You know,
I think he said culturally insensitive remarks. I think.
Yes. Yes. I've heard it so many times. You would think I'd have it memorized, but no. But
so funny thing about that is, so the next show that he actually debuted, that he was like, "Hey, I got a surprise for you at the beginning of the show," and I'm thinking like, "It ain't my birthday. What the heck you doing with me? You got a surprise for me? You ain't never had a surprise for me, you know." And then that message played, and I just looked at him and I said, I gave him the nod, like, "Thank you."
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. And so that's why I like Roger. I mean, you know, because he don't tolerate things like that. You know, so
no.
Oh,
that's why I've stayed around for so long, because I have a good working relationship with a good, awesome individual. So why not keep that going?
I don't blame you. So, Dwayne, what's your question?
Okay. My brother and I have had this conversation several times. Like, he's not a fan of the New Day. He's not a fan of R-Truth. He looks at it as like they are shucking and jiving for people's entertainment. I don't view it that way. I view it as they've found something that works for them, and they're, you know, if they're comfortable with it, then I'm all for it. But what is your thought about, because, you know, they give a lot of, you had your Crime Time back in the early 2010s with the thug gimmick and things like that. Do you feel like acts like the New Day or R-Truth, that they're just shucking and jiving for entertainment?
No, I do not. I respectfully disagree with that stance that your brother took. Now, Crime Time, I can definitely agree with you, because that's what I was just talking about earlier. You give the black guy the ghetto gimmick, like,
exactly.
It's just
and now
so,
I do
hate it.
I do agree with that one. It's like, and the Crime Time guys were so talented that they didn't need to be saddled with that gimmick in order to get over.
Now, the New Day, there's something completely different. Because I don't know about you, Dwayne. I don't see no brothers walking around talking about unicorns and cereal. So I don't look at that.
Not unless it's one of her toys.
Exactly. So I don't look at that as shucking and jiving. You know, they're definitely there. Now, some of the antics are a little over the top, like Kofi Kingston twerking on everything, and Big E is too big to be swiveling them hips like that. It's disturbing. It is disturbing, you know, but it shows you that rhythm. So and so now, if he calls that shucking and jiving, then I guess I can kind of agree with that. But I look at it as being different, being entertaining, and being entertaining is something completely different than shucking and jiving.
Yeah,
you know,
and you could tell this is them. Whether I feel like this is them, whether they're in the ring, backstage, at home with their families, this is just them, and they're out there having fun and enjoying themselves.
Now the I don't mean to switch gears here. Now the ACH situation, that's a completely different story.
Yeah.
That was bad.
Yeah.
That was
really bad.
That's one of those things that, come on, WWE, get more of us. When I say us, I mean African Americans, minorities, and different. Get them more in your circle of creative, to where they can catch you before you put these things out.
Yeah, because it's like, how are you going to put that shirt out and knowing what it looked like? There's no way somebody in that creative circle did not know what that shirt looked like, and they went ahead and released it anyway, and then seemed confused when he was upset about it.
Because I'm not sure. I'm just kind of speculating, because now I have to speculate, because you actually let that shirt see the light of day.
Yeah.
And ACH had every right to be mad. Now, did he go about it the wrong way? Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. He absolutely went about it the wrong way. Yeah.
he kind of came off as angry black man, which we're going to always get. So he kind of fell right into that stereotype, which I'm sad to admit, but he kind of fell right into it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. He walked right into it. Yeah.
And that's because there's a lot of culturally clueless people out here that are not in those creative board meetings before they put out shirts and things like that.
Yep.
I think WWE learned their lesson with trial and error, unfortunately. You know, because they tried it, they figured out, oh wow, that was way bad. And I think they kind of learned from it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they had to learn from it the bad way.
Yeah. Steve, you'll have to look up the shirt. You'll be able to find a picture of it online, but the shirt looked like blackface.
Yes, I remember it because I was like, AC, I was like, this sounds familiar. And I was about to ask, okay, remind me. But as soon as you said the shirt, I was like, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because somebody put out a stupid looking shirt.
Yep. It was awful. And like you said, he went about it the wrong way. There was a much better way to handle that, but I can understand the anger.
Yeah. The anger was justified. The reaction, I can't really get behind. She just want to spend a little time with daddy, that's all.
You can't resist cuteness. I mean,
I know, right?
She's adorable, man. She's adorable. Like I said, I'm not a monster, man. She's adorable.
Thank you. Thank you. She's a mess.
So actually, you know what, Dwaylen, this kind of segues into my next question. Have you ever had a promoter, a booker, an agent, et cetera, ask you to do something you felt could have been disparaging? And if you've only been with, well, no, because you just mentioned you've actually wrestled 4 other places, even though you're based in the NWF, you have actually done like other shows with other organizations. So, because I was going to say, if you've only been with one organization, hey, you don't have to answer it because I didn't want you to, get in trouble with anybody.
Right. Let me think about that because I've taken chair shots and stuff like that and a lot of bumps here.
That was just last night.
Yeah, right, exactly. I pulled double duty last night, so
yeah, you did.
So say that I necessarily, like I said, I've been thankful in my career that I really haven't dealt with anything that would kind of stand out. I did do one show like one of my earlier years, and it was one of the things like you just said, you're black, you work here. It's that natural heat because they ain't gonna like you down here too much.
Yeah. Well, we're always viewed as being mean and angry. So
yeah. So I mean, yes, in my earlier career, that I feed into that angry and the angry black man to get a little heat from him. Of course, I tapped into that. I mean, it's right there. I'm young. I'm just young in my situation, and I'm not really realizing what's going on.
Right.
Now these shows that I may go to that may be very rural areas, I actually try my best to be the face, because then I get to get out there and I get to mingle with them and things like that, and things. Then for the most point, I think they kind of cheer more for you, because you're different.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's when I get in those rural areas, I do like to try my best to work babyface.
Well, I think part of that, would almost come natural to you too, because I mean, you're extremely easy to talk to, and you always make me and Dwaylen laugh. I mean, if you're making somebody smile, it's hard to be mad at them.
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, I could definitely see you. You could be like a natural heel or a natural babyface.
Yeah.
So, but apparently, heel is a lot more fun.
Yeah, heels a lot more fun too. Heels a lot more fun. Well, I will tell you another one that I just remembered as well. So, I was at a runoff show. It was like a little bit of, they wanted to do like a little hardcore thing. So we got booked like a little, I guess they wanted to book me like a strap match. And it was going to be, my counterpart was going to be a white guy. And I kind of looked at the book and I was like, do you think that kind of shows the wrong message here? And first, he really didn't put 2 and 2 together. And I said, so think about it, man. You're going to be whooping a black performer with a strap.
Yeah.
And it clicked. And he went, yeah, let's get you in a different match. And I looked at him and I said, thank you. Like, in a strap match, yes, I'll be giving out the beating as well.
Right. But
still, yeah.
The vision alone is just, and plus I felt I'd be setting my ancestors back.
Yeah, it's like, yeah.
I felt I'd never be able to show myself again. Right.
Dude,
no, that was not cool. You did a strap match, though. That was not cool. You know?
And actually now they just call it a strap match. Because before, when Wahoo, I mean, cause that was always his match, they always called it the Indian strap match.
Yeah.
And now it's just strap.
Yeah, that's a little borderline too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, you weren't going to beat Wahoo in that match.
Oh no.
Yeah. So, and usually, like in real life, you probably couldn't beat Wahoo anyway, because I just heard stories about the man. He was like ridiculously like double, triple tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
one of the people you don't want to get on the bad side. So don't mess up a spot. You're gonna feel it.
Yeah. So well, Dwaylen, your question.
We were talking with my last question, we mentioned Crime Time and the thug gimmicks that people have been given throughout the years. And I kind of feel like for the most part, wrestling's kind of moving away from that. Would you agree with that? You don't see that nearly as much today as you did even 4 or 5 years ago. I know there's probably I watch a lot of wrestling, but it's hard to watch it all, so I'm sure there's still some of that out there, but from what I've been watching, you don't see it nearly as much. There's still a little with some things here and there, but I feel it's gotten better.
Well, I contribute a lot of that to social media and how the rise of social media, because you will get dragged in a court of public opinion.
Yes, you will.
You will get dragged. Like, for example, I find it funny, but at the same time, it's so bad. And I can't believe the WWE actually got away with it. And I think that's because social media went at the height that it is now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember when Vince McMahon got his head shaved by Bobby Lashley and things like that, right?
Yeah.
Then he became the ECW champion. Then he walked around with a do-rag.
With a do-rag on.
For 6 straight months.
Yeah.
And it's funny, but at the same time, I'm like, oh my God, it's so bad.
Yeah. Yeah. It was so bad. And what's worse, before that even happened, when he was backstage at Survivor Series that year and went up to John Cena and used the N-word live on pay-per-view with Booker T and Sharmell standing right there off camera. And it's like everybody was just like, oh, that's Vince McMahon being Vince McMahon. And it's like, no, no.
I'll tell you.
Because I was just like this. I was like Booker T, tell me he didn't just say that.
Tell me he did not just say that.
Like I said, culturally clueless. I will give you one example that I just watched not too long ago. Do y'all remember the Judgment Day? I don't remember what year it is. I want to say 2012, when they had nooses as the background.
Yes. Yes.
I was overseas when that was going on, so there's a lot of stuff I've missed that Dwaylen's had to like.
They were
brief me
were
on.
literally like in the promotional stuff. They were in the background. There was nooses hanging in the arena by the set, because remember that was back in the day when they actually had different sets for every pay-per-view. This one had nooses hanging up there, and I'm like, nobody sees this. I
can admit I was blinded when I first watched the pay-per-view. It didn't click with me until Booker T did his promo in front of it. And I was like,
let's bring the black guy out and have him cut his promo in
front of a noose. And I'm like,
oh
no. Oh my God.
What was the point of the nooses? Well,
because it was like they were doing like it was like a big Undertaker type. I think it was like one of his big promotional thing. They were doing Judgment Day, where how they used to like like back in like the medieval times, they used to have like the little guillotines and used to have the nooses, and then they released or whatever. Then you just hang there. I think that's what they were trying to envision.
That's what they were trying. Yeah, but no, it just looked like, hey, you've come to a lynching. That's what it looked like. I mean, it just, we're being honest, that's what it looked like.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, it didn't click until I got the visual of Booker T.
Yeah, I saw them at first, and I'm like, that does not look good. But yeah, when Booker T's there, and then there's a noose behind him, and it's like, nope, not acceptable.
That got awkward. Now, if social media was at the height that it is now, WWE would have got dragged for that.
Oh yeah, and it would have been pro wrestlers that would have dragged them, because that's how pro wrestlers are getting people left and right on social media about their racism.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and this is actually, see, you don't even know what my next questions are, but you're still segueing into them.
See,
have you
ever pretty good at this, I may add.
Have you ever had to work with someone suspected to be at the very least an extremist sympathizer? With an example, Dick Murdock, and how hard was it, or would it be to trust them in the ring? Because do you know the story about Dick Murdock?
No, you might have to run that past me.
Dick Murdock, he was a wrestler. He was actually tag team partners with Dusty Rhodes for a while, and they stopped being tag team partners because Dick Murdock was an admitted card-carrying member of the KKK.
Yep.
He invited Dusty Rhodes to a rally, and Dusty Rhodes went, "Nope," and he noped right out of there.
He said, "No, Daddy, I'm not doing this. Daddy.
I'm not doing that.
No, Daddy.
That's not for me, Daddy. Sorry."
And he played a joke, what he considered a joke, on Tony Atlas and Tommy Rich. I just watched part of this today, actually, and they were talking about it, where he just told Tony Atlas and Tommy Rich, "Hey, meet me at this whatever blah, blah, blah place at this time," and it was a rally. And Tommy Rich looked around. He realized what was going on. He's like, "Tony, we got to get out of here," and got out of there. And he went to Dick Murdock, like, "What's the deal?" And apparently Dick Murdock told Tony Atlas he was a member of the Klan. And he's like, "What? I didn't think you'd actually go." He never apologized for anything, and a lot of that came out after he died, because he died in 96, but it comes out, there's this guy that he's a card carrying member of the freaking Klan. And
see, why aren't we dragging him before he died? That's my question.
I think that,
well, a lot of it is with those old school guys, a lot of people were afraid to say anything. And then once they died, then they're like, okay, well, I won't have to deal with him if I bring this up. So then they start, then they start telling stuff, and it's like, but I agree. This stuff needs to be brought up now. And it's like, if there's a wrestler that's doing that kind of thing, they need to be stopped now instead of waiting decades until they pass away and then bring it up. But back in the day too, Dick Murdock drew money, so they weren't going to say anything. He drew money as a heel, so they got
the pass.
Yep. So he got a pass because they didn't want to mess with the money.
Absolutely. Yes, money is my gimmick. It is, but it's definitely the root of all evil. Definitely.
But have you had to deal with anything like that now?
Yeah. I'm about to say, to answer your question, Steve. Like I said, I never really had to deal with any of that as of right now. But to be honest with you, though, I would not trust that person at all. So pretty much, I'm a professional. Okay, I will get out there and I will work with you, but I will definitely call things that will not put me in a very awkward position. With you. So I'm not calling no pile drivers. I'm not calling anything that's going to make me have to trust you.
Yeah, right.
And if you're good enough at your craft, you can get around it and still get the same results that you want out of the match.
Right.
Now, I'm very when I'm calling something, I don't necessarily agree with it. I do the I don't hate it, but then I would. But I will kind of try to incorporate things that you, in the spot you came up with, but I'll try to add a little twist around it to not get myself in an awkward position. I do that a lot with people that I don't necessarily work with. before and that I don't know what your skill level is.
Right.
So until I kind of get you in the ring, until you when you're calling stuff, I'm like, I'm not taking that power bomb from you. So how about this? Not saying because I don't trust you, just because there's that unknown.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
Gotcha.
people will say like, "Oh yeah, I've been wrestling for 10 years," but they only had 7 matches within those 10 years.
Right.
That can be highly dangerous. You know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I got to get up and go to work in the morning. I do have a shoot job.
Yeah.
I do have a shoot job. So
Yeah.
I can't stop my income from coming in.
Exactly.
Because I'm at the point of my life where wrestling is just a hobby to me.
Yeah.
So thank God, like I said, I've been very, very lucky in my career that I have not had to face a lot of the trials and tribulations of my former counterparts. Or not, excuse me, not I want to say counterparts of, my former ancestors or people that look like me.
Mhm.
I've never really had my peers. There it is. I've never that I've had to deal with. So, like saying, thank God that I've just never had to deal with that. And plus, I'm very picky in where I work.
Mhm.
I do research. I look at the area. I try to look at in some of your past things, and I try to find wrestlers that I know. Then I reach out to them. Hey, so what's up with so and so? And they will get back. And I believe I was looking for a booking out in Pittsburgh because I'm trying to still expand. And I reached out to a good colleague of mine because she works a lot of Pittsburgh shows, and she literally was like, "Don't mess with them. Yeah, it's attractive, but he hires a lot of unsafe workers and X, Y, Z."
Okay.
And I'm like, good looking.
Yeah. It's like, no.
You are definitely off the list.
Yeah.
Not unless you make me an offer I can't refuse, then I'll kind of do my professionalism and don't put myself in situations.
Mhm.
Oh. So, Jalen, your question.
Are there, do you watch a lot, of different wrestling?
Mhm.
Are there any like up and coming or even veteran black wrestlers that you could see being a big star or being a world champion in pro wrestling?
You want me to go indie, or you want me to kind of get someone that's already kind of signed?
It doesn't matter. Both.
Okay. All right. So, a lot of black wrestlers I feel like that just need to get their just due is one of them is a good friend of mine. I just seen him last night, and his name is Lexus Montez. I see me and him go way back, and when I saw him, I gave him the biggest hug, and we call each other beloved. It goes back to there's a battle rapper by the name of Loaded Lux, and he calls all his opponents beloved.
Okay. Okay.
So, and I looked at him in his eyes, and I was like, dude, I'm not like this, but beloved, I'm so happy to see you. I can kiss you right now. So, there's a couple guys that I watch from afar that I really haven't ran into before. I believe one of them I think his name's like Paradigm or something like that. I see a lot of his videos, and I see that we work with a lot of the same people. He looks like he's really to be good and up and coming. He looks very young. Looks like he's traveling and everything like that. Like I said, never met him, but I kind of just in this big network of Facebook and everything like that, you get to see a lot of my peers doing their thing. Another guy that's pretty much up and coming is a lot of the I would hate to say kids, but I'm especially proud of a lot of the new crop of black wrestlers that came into the NWF. The Juices, the Joe Pros, the Kimbas, the DCs. I told DC as soon as you won the championship, NWF championship, I said that I can only count you and one other person, and that other person was T Money. Not sure if you know about T Money, but he's part of the Jollyville efforts, because I know we're family friendly. See, I had to censor myself. But with him and Nasty Russ, and T Money is definitely good.
Oh, he was just on AEW Dark not too long ago.
He
Yep.
is phenomenal. All he's waiting for is just the opportunity. And I think once he gets the opportunity, he can definitely shine in what he can do. Let's see here. Like I said, I'm just trying to think of people off the top of my head who I kind of watch from afar, who I don't necessarily interact with personally.
Mhm.
There's I'm sorry if I'm leaving anyone out. There is another guy who I really have respect for. I have worked with him a couple of times, but he works more of the manager role of things. And his name is well, I know him as Birdman, but I believe his name is Russell, and he actually has a stable of all black wrestlers that he actually works with exclusively. And that's just the matter of respect. He's a young up and coming Slick. He reminds me a lot of Slick.
Okay.
A lot of Slick. Look, I believe his name is Russell Acting the Fool something on Facebook, but you might want to look him up. Like I said, sorry, brother, if I'm just butchering your name, but I know you personally as Russell. But that's a manager that's really up and coming. That's African American, and he's really, really good, really good. Like I said, sorry, I can't think of anyone off the top of my head right now because this is all on the spot question. But those are the ones that kind of come to my head at the forefront right now.
Last night, who was the dude? I knew everybody that came in the ring for the Rumble except for 3 guys. The 2 Moondog looking guys, I didn't know who they were.
Ed and Eddie, NWF Hall of Famers.
Okay. And right before they came out, it was a black dude had like mini dreads. And I did
Lexus Montez.
That was him. Okay, I had a feeling because I was like, because I texted my friend Randy. You've met Randy. Bigger dude. Bald head. And I said, like, there's a guy there. I said, I don't know his name, but he's good. He's very good. I could tell that was it. Okay,
Get familiar.
Yeah,
Get familiar.
Dwaylen. Oh my God,
Lee Morty did a match at Unsanctioned Pro, and they were saying that this is the match that actually got Lee Morty signed.
Really?
Which is heartbreaking.
I like Lee Moriarty. I've watched him on AEW. Plus, I've seen a couple of indie matches with him. He's really good.
They had a classic, and it just hurt me to my soul that brother tries so hard and he's so beeping good that the person who you literally tore it down with got the opportunity that you did not get.
And you didn't get it, yeah.
And that just hurt. That just hurt me to my soul.
But yeah, old man, he just the short time he was in the ring, I was watching, I was like, that dude's good. And
that dude is
yes.
He is that dude. He is that dude.
Yeah, and I hopefully, I would really hope that somebody in the NWF would actually have like a full video of the entire Rumble that people could have watched, because the whole match was good. And I actually called the winner, by the way, because
he did.
Some people were putting
I'm not mad about the winner. It should have been me. Yes, I'm doing my Dolph Ziggler right now. It definitely should have been me. Definitely should have been me. But I'm not mad of it. Actually, me and Swayze, I actually do a little fantasy booking with Swayze, and I do want to at least tag with him and at least get the tagline just once. Hopefully Roger will humor me just once, so we can be called Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous.
There you go. There you go. I like that.
Just once. I just want it just once. We never have to do it again, but just to say that it happened. That's just fantasy booking here. That's kind of what I wanted with Swayze, because he's the kid's good. The kid's undeniable, and Helm Gideon together are just
when I saw Gideon come out, I'm like, okay, that's it. Even when he was saying, he was like cheering for Rex, I'm like, that's not going to last. And I told my son, because he was there with me, I was like, $5 says that he's going to turn on him. Next thing you know, it was like, bam, up between the legs. I'm like, yep, there it goes. He's over. Done.
Yeah, I saw the clip on Twitter this afternoon of the very end and that spot, and then Adam throwing him out. Yeah.
Yep. And yeah, Gideon, yeah, Dwaylen, that's the guy who Leighton yelled at and said, "You're adopted." Yeah, did I tell you about that, Sinclair? Yeah, my son
No.
said it was at a Mount Orb show a few years back, before the pandemic. Of course, I mean, Gideon when he was still with them, and
Right.
he came around the ring, and my son, at the time, my son's 11 now, so he had to have been around maybe 8 or 9, at the most. And he came around, and my son goes, "Boo, boo, you're adopted." And Gideon actually broke character for a second. He's like, "What?" He's like, "Oh, what?" He's like, "That's like what? That's one of the meanest things you could say to someone." I looked at him, I was like, "Where did you get that? What?" And
it took you back too.
yeah, I was like, "Huh?"
It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, and then later on they had to come out because that was a singles match with one of the blondes. And so when they came out for the main event, Gideon comes around the ring, because we're actually sitting as you're coming through the entrance, we would be like on the left side. So as you're coming all the way around the ring, Gideon walks around and says, "Boo, you're adopted." And I was like, and I start laughing. I'm like, well, I'm like, you know what? He remembered. But yeah, my son actually made him, it looked like he broke character for a second because they caught him off guard. Like, what? So
Gideon he's great. I'm such a mark for Gideon. It's unbelievable. And the fact that he said, because if you said to give you a little taste of my history here, I was a manager for a very, very long time.
I remember that when I first saw you, you were still
yeah, I was their manager, and when he told me that he kind of drew some of the stuff that I did, and he looked up at some of the stuff that I did as a manager, and I'm like, dude, no effing way, because you're way better than me. Like, you're way better than me as a manager. That was had a little special place in my heart. I'm like, dude, this dude is legit, man. He's like I said, I know this is a Black History podcast right now, but just another guy you got to give him his just due. He is phenomenal in what he does.
So we had to get back to the subject real quick because we will. Dwayne and I we do that, but we'll get off subject. We'll be off for a while. We go down rabbit holes. So I guess my question: what was your reaction when the video of Hogan using racial slurs surfaced?
Man, I ain't gonna lie, man. Oh boy, that rocked little me to the core, man. That hurt, man. That's one of those classic examples of don't never ever meet your heroes, man. That just crushed me. It's just such an ugly and hateful word, and it's just. This is what I hate most about the word is that a lot of people may not be racist to the core, right? But it seems like when they get angry, that word immediately is the first word that triggers out of their mouth when dealing with a person of color. And it's like, and it's just, and it hurts because it's like, yes, it's just the word, but the word with the tone, because the word, the hard R, the hard R is the technical definition of it is somebody who is ignorant, someone who does not, basically someone who's, I guess I don't want to use words like stupid or anything like that, but just an ignorant person. And the fact that yes, it's the word, but it's just what that word represented for so long, and it's just that when it just rolls off the tongue, it just hits different. And it's just like, and it's with someone who you kind of have that emotional connection with, I guess, because, these are people you grew up with watching on TV. They're your heroes. I was saying my prayers and eating my vitamins. We're all flexing and, doing the whole I am American thing.
Right. And whether he wanted to be a role model or not, he was for millions of kids. He was. And then for him to go off on that rant, and it's like it makes you think all the way back. It's like, so this is the person he was the entire time. So and then it makes you feel bad for cheering him. It's like
a year. I was a mark.
Like I wasn't when he was doing the red and yellow. My brother was a huge Hogan fan.
Yeah.
But when he turned heel and went to the NWO, loved heel Hogan. But now looking back on it, it's like, because everybody said that heel Hogan was basically Hulk Hogan live on camera. And so hearing those racial slurs and stuff, it's like, now it's like, it's hard to look at that without going, ugh, that's, yeah, it's like, that's the emotion. It's like, ugh.
Like I said, I will never ever, and this is just me personally, man, I will never ever, ever since then, man, I was never ever cheer for Hogan for anything. Hogan's done for me. And then, you know, I'm going to be completely honest with you. When the curtain was peeled back and Hogan was exposed, I started looking at Hogan's work as a technical wrestler, and I'm like, man, he's the shits. Like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And you know, my cousins always tell me, "Dude, Macho Man's way better. You're crazy." Dude, you're crazy. Macho Man couldn't hold a candle to Hogan. Are you crazy? But now I'm like, dude, Macho Man was 10 times better.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we've said that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, except for Hogan in Japan. In Japan, all of a sudden he was breaking out a lot more moves.
Well, because the thing is, the Japanese audience weren't going to lose their mind over all the pomp and circumstance.
Right.
The Japanese audience is like, okay, we got the flashy entrance and all that, but that bell is rung. I'm gonna need you to wrestle.
Yeah, what you gonna do?
Yeah, exactly. What are you gonna do? And they put him in the ring with people that you're either gonna wrestle or we're gonna make you wrestle. So he had to step it up.
I mean, you put him with someone there like Inoki, and if Inoki starts stretching him, you know, forget it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you look at it, Hogan, after his Japan trials, he came back a way better performer.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Iron sharpens iron. So at least maybe the money or somebody or Hogan himself realized that, man, if I'm going to get exposed here pretty sooner or later, I might as well learn how to work.
Yep.
You know?
And I think it was more, I think he came back to the States. I've always thought, because it was easier to do his gimmick in the States, because I mean, look at all his classic matches. It's like the opponent does the work. Hogan just, you know, somewhat sells through the match.
Gets his spots.
Hulk gets his spots in, hulks up, you know, 3 punches and a leg drop, and that's the match. He didn't have to work nearly as hard as he did in Japan.
No, and
made way more money.
Yeah,
and that shows you where gimmick can get away with a lot of your imperfections in the ring.
Yes. Yep.
Because it was the spirit of Hulk Hogan, especially around them times. It was all America. I'm not sure. Like I'm kind of young, but I'm not sure what was going on. You know, like country-wise, political-wise. I know we don't talk about politics on here, but still, that kind of played a part in the whole USA chants and everything like that. You were proud to be an American. So Hulk Hogan hawking up was us hawking up.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's another thing too. Yeah, when the tape came out with all the racial slurs, and it's like, you know, this guy has told us that that we should be proud to be an American and all this, and it's like, except if you're a person of color. Is the way I took it. It's like, you should be proud to be an American, and, you know, rah rah rah, unless you're a person of color, and then I don't like you.
And I think the part about that shocked me was, you look at the first WrestleMania, he was teamed with Mr. T.
Mr. T, yeah.
You know, you look when he went to like WCW, you know, he was there with Rodman, he was there with Shaq, and everything else. And then when that tape came out, and then because we're family friendly, I don't even want to talk about what the actual tape was, you know, and that in fact that had he not sued, you know, because I wasn't Mills that brought that up. He said if he had not brought that lawsuit,
if he hadn't sued, then that never would have came out. But
and after that, it's like, and then you find out all sorts of other stuff he was doing. It's like, he had Jimmy Hart was carrying his drugs for him, and along with Brutus Beefcake, and then you find out all this other stuff, and it's like, Hulk Hogan was, you know, it's like, dude, you're fake. I mean, it's like the mask just fell off. And and then we watch this reality show every once in a while. I'm like, this is so stupid. I couldn't stand it. What was it, the Hogan Knows Best or whatever it was? I'm like,
Mhm.
you
And
look for somebody who's just wanting to, he just not know how to get rid of the spotlight.
Yeah.
And to kind of piggyback off of what you said, so like you said, Mr. T, he did things with well, I know him as Debo. Like Mama
Yeah,
call him
yeah.
Clay.
Yeah,
Mama call
forgot
him
about
Clay.
him,
I'm
yeah.
gonna call him Clay.
Yeah. Yep.
He
even did,
will always be
Be
Debo. to me.
Debo. Yeah.
Yeah, always be Debo. Tiny Zeus Lester I
Yep.
was like, who? Zeus who? No. Oh, you mean Debo.
You mean Debo? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it comes off as like like when you work with all these different African Americans, it comes off of as hey, I'm not racist. I got black friends. I got so and so.
Yes.
That's where it comes off. That's how it came off as.
I worked with this guy and I worked with this guy, and it's
How
like,
can I be racist?
yeah, it's like, but the audio proof says that you're racist. So
Yeah.
Because in your natural state, I mean, like look what
Yep.
happened to John Gruden.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yep.
I mean, he got dragged. That's what I said. Social media, this is the good and bad thing of social media. There's good and bad in social media. It's one of the good things of social media because Hogan got dragged because it went viral and everyone saw it.
Well, even when he gave his apology to the locker room,
Not
it
too late.
was
Too late.
well. The thing is, he didn't apologize for what he said. He apologized for the fact that he got caught saying
caught.
Mm-hmm.
And like, especially like the guys from the New Day were like, no, that's not an apology. You're not sorry at all for what you said. You're just sorry you got caught and it got out to the world.
Mm-hmm. I don't know Titus O'Neil's stands on this because I don't know Titus O'Neil. Of course, I don't know him personally, nothing like that. But that must have been extremely difficult for him to be hosting with him. One of those WrestleManias.
It would have for me.
Like
Yeah.
It'd have been tough.
Yeah, it'd been hard. I mean, I would have been professional. I think I would have been professional and went ahead with it. But inside, I'd have been like, I don't want nothing to do with this dude.
Yeah. Right. But when it comes, you got to secure the bag first. That's
exactly
that's number one. Secure the bag. So I'm never gonna let my personal feelings never interfere with me securing the bag.
Yeah.
Never that. And I think that's the same mentality Titus took with that.
Yeah. Yep.
Hey, Joel, you got a question?
Have you seen the match where Ron Simmons won the WCW World Title?
I've seen clips, but I haven't necessarily seen the whole match though.
Yeah, him and Vader.
Yeah, like that match was a really good match. And they always go back to that as, a defining moment, which it was. And Ron Simmons did his best to, push that and be, he had rallies and had, black kids in the audience and everything trying to push. You can be whatever you want to be. You just have to put that work in.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like that they still give that sentiment when they do have a black champion? Or is it more, for me, it's more of, this is what y'all have been wanting. So we're going to give it to you for just a little while. And then we're going to go back to the status quo. I don't feel like that they push that and tell, black kids that look at this representation and this is what you can, you can be anything you want if you put the time and the work in.
See, a lot of that too, I look at the timing of everything. Is it genuine?
Yeah.
Is this a genuine win, or is something going on in the world that you're kind of piggybacking off of what's hot right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of like I said, I can name off world champions that get it that didn't necessarily deserved it, you know. And it feels like, sometimes as a black performer, you got to work doubly hard,
Yeah.
Look at Kofi's been there 17 years. Sorry, I keep using them, but those are some of the biggest examples I have right now because we have such a small sample size.
Yes.
You know, I could even throw R-Truth in there back in the NWA days.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he had to work double as hard that he probably didn't necessarily have to work as hard as his white counterparts.
Right.
You know, who kind of came in already on third generation superstars or whatever. You know, and or you know they were given the opportunities that necessarily that us African Americans have not have gotten back in those days. So the Ron Simmons, I was young, so I really don't know the landscape of what was going on at that time. So I can definitely speak for something that's more recent and things like that. All right. So the Bianca Belair title, yes, the girl worked definitely hard. She worked hard. She definitely deserved it. But at the same time, though, look at the landscape of what was going on. Everyone was kind of leaning more towards black.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of what was hot at that point. So it's like, so I don't look at that as more of a genuine one because it looks like they were just kind of piggybacking on what the landscape was and what was hot right now. You know, because we had a lot of things going on. We had a lot of the speak out stuff going on. A lot of like, you know, a lot of African American voices were coming out, were speaking up and things like that. And WWE just kind of was like, hey, look, we're kind of with you guys too. So here it is, you know. Like I say, I could be completely off base, but that's just my opinion on that necessarily title run that she had, you know. And because the big hot thing was black women.
Mm-hmm.
Black women at the forefront getting their just due. And the WWE kind of fell right into it. Because they wanted to be the first to do the all black woman
main event.
WrestleMania main event.
Yeah.
And that's just my opinion. I could be completely off base.
And
I don't know what's going on back in their back office, but that's just how it was portrayed to me.
And I could definitely see that because WWE has always been about, especially ever since they went public, they are always been about that agenda of having this great public face. And I mean, you make some very good points because you look at the two night WrestleMania this year. It's Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair in the main event of night one, and then Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns of night two. So it's like, I can see that. It's like, what for me, it doesn't take away from the match because they put on an amazing match, probably match of the year, in my opinion. But I could definitely see WWE trying to piggyback and get some good publicity for themselves, especially since they are known to have suspect undertones to a lot of their black wrestlers with their characters.
And to be completely honest with you, Roman Reigns is Samoan.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The Usos are Samoan.
Yep.
They just adopt black culture.
Yes.
The only one that can say that they're half black would be The Rock.
The Rock, yeah. Yeah, the rest of the family is, Samoan.
It's all Samoan.
Yep.
Now, I forget what comedian that said it, or I think it said that you could probably look it up. But I want to say it was probably Paul Mooney. I want to say, but he was basically like Samoan just means that they're just from another,
I remember
from
that.
somewhere else, somewhere else.
Yes, I remember that. That was Paul Mooney. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So they just from somewhere else. That's what he said.
Yeah.
So but it's that. But yes, they're definitely minorities, and I would definitely give them that. But if you look at WrestleMania this year, it's very scarce with people that look like me and you, Dwayne.
Yeah, really, unless the Street Profits get a tag title shot, it's Bianca Belair. I mean, they'll probably throw Naomi in. They'll probably throw Naomi in the Battle Royal.
They've been talking about Naomi and Sasha being a tag team.
Oh yeah, going after the tag titles. So if they do that, but still, it would be Sasha and Naomi, possibly the Street Profits, Bianca Belair. That's 5
Mhm.
from a 2-night, a 2-night
And
show.
I'm pretty sure they're gonna sprinkle Bobby Lashley in there somewhere.
No, he's hurt.
Bobby's
hurt.
out.
Yeah.
He's going to be
Oh,
out.
he's hurt.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
Shows you how much I watch.
That's what that's why they took him out of the. That's why Brock's got the title, because they took Bobby. He's got to have shoulder surgery, so they said he's going to be out at least 4 months.
4 months,
he's going to miss WrestleMania, so we don't have Bobby Lashley there, and
Makes sense then.
So, yeah,
makes sense. It makes sense then why they wrote him off. Then it shows you how much I watch nowadays. I got other things to do, man. Like when I get a brief moment from my 8-year-old, man, I am locked into PlayStation. I am locked in.
Well, see, in the background, you need to have the Armchair Booking podcast playing, like through your speaker. That way,
that way we'll keep you up to date on.
Yeah, we do. I mean, we'll keep you up with the news.
Yeah, and also we can kind of talk off camera. If you guys ever want a wrestler's perspective on those shows, invite me.
Oh,
okay,
absolutely.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yep. So I think I got this was my last question. We said on multiple occasions, talking about me and Dwaylen on the show, that we are not fans of qualifiers, meaning like pretty good for insert demographic here. Like, oh, he's pretty good for a black guy. Oh, she's pretty good for a woman, things like that. Have you heard anything like this said about you, and how do you react?
I would say one thing, and you actually said this to me once as well, though, and I always tell people too, I'm pretty good for a fat guy.
Well, I can say it because I'm a fat guy myself. So.
Like you said, man, that boy can move. For a big guy, he can definitely move. Like I said, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good for a guy that carries on a little extra weight than I should say. Yes, I'm trying my best believe, as I sip on wine and smoke cigars. But hey, they said the great Babe Ruth did that, so he hit about a gazillion home runs. But no, I've never, like I said, I've just been so blessed, and I have a good gauge on. I'm a good people reader, Do I get some things wrong? Absolutely, but I like to observe, and also I talk to people and their perspectives of it as well. I'm not gonna put any names out here because I don't want to, burn anyone or social media and everything like that.
Right.
There is one promoter that a lot of my African American counterparts refuse to work with, and he runs a promotion that's a little bit up north. Like I said, I'm just gonna put up north because there's a big up north, so no one can say, "Hey, you talking about this person." But anyone who's in the locker room, anyone who knows, they can pretty much figure out who I'm talking about. Now, I do a lot of business with this person as well. Means that I work their shows every now and then as well. And a lot of my Black counterparts, they don't feel comfortable working with this person because of what they say, or they just don't understand the person. So with me, I work with the person because I'm able to look at different types of racism. His racism is he tries to be funny because he tries to ease you up in the situation as an African American. So he would say like a racist joke that he may find funny, that necessarily someone who does not know him will be like, dude, what the F was that?
Yeah.
We even had when I first got there, he kind of did the same thing to me, and I pretty much checked him in the moment.
Right.
I checked him right there. And since then, I've had not one problem because now I understand what he was doing. He thought it was funny. He thought it would kind of ease me up in the situation, kind of be like, hey, we're all cool. We're all cool here. You got nothing to worry about, blah, 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 right? But someone who doesn't know him, someone who's their first time working up there, they can kind of punch him in the face.
Well,
they might try to punch him in the face.
Yeah, because there's like, me and my wife have had these discussions, and she makes a very good point that people have to realize too that there are two types of racism. There is the disgusting, hateful racism where you absolutely mean every single thing that comes out of your mouth. Then there is the, I don't want to say ignorant, but like the misinformed or uninformed racism to where it's like, well, I've always heard it this way, and it's always been, it's always been funny, or, that's what, my dad or my granddad or whatever always said, and I just thought it was okay. It's the not having the correct information, or not having those conversations, like you said at the top of the show, not having those uncomfortable conversations, not having that regular interaction with Black people. I was at a grocery store one time with my wife, and I was the only Black person in the store, and we were at a Walmart, and this little boy looks at me, and he just looks at me like his eyes got all big and everything. And I told my wife, I said, he just saw a unicorn. He just saw his first Black person. I said every child should be obligated for every white child to have some type of interaction with a Black person when they're young, so that they're not shocked when they get older and don't know how to act.
Yep, absolutely, 100%. I actually had something incredibly embarrassing happen to me years back, and this is kind of where I kind of get mad at our people, Dwaylen, and the absent fathers. That's just hurts me to a core.
Yeah,
because because then all black men get the same stigma.
Yes.
But I'm in the grocery store. It's a little mixed kid, and he literally, obviously he's 4, so he got a little confused. And he literally, I'm in the line of the grocery store. He literally looks at me and says, "Mommy, is that Daddy?" And I'm like, "No, kid, I'm not your daddy." Like, it's
like,
before
no.
my kid. It's before my kid. So I'm like, "Whoa, no. I have no dependents as of right now." And the mother, she was Caucasian. She was just so embarrassed, and basically I just empathized with her, and she was like, I'm sorry. He only knows his father through pictures and blah 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 blah." And I'm just like, and I look at her and I go, "Hey, that's not his fault.
Nope,
that is not his fault." And then, with her experience, that's kind of how people of opposite races look at Black men. They look at us as the absentee fathers. They look at us as, like you said, when they tell the white girl that, "Oh, he's just going to use you for X, Y, and Z."
Yeah.
He's just going to use you for your money, or he's just going to use you or he's going to see what he can get out of you, and then that's it. Then he's gone. Have a bunch of babies by you and use you up, and then he's gone.
Yep.
And quite as it kept, there's more Caucasians that do that than African Americans. We're just because of the stigma, we just kind of it just gets more thrust to the forefront when it comes to African Americans.
Yep. And then it's like, and it's also when people do see a Black father involved with their children, they're like, they want to give you a pat on the back, and it's like, I'm doing this because I love my children, and I'm their father. I'm not doing it to get praise from the public. I'm doing it because that's my job to do.
Yep. You hear, "Oh, you're one of the good ones."
Yes. I've heard that so many times, and it's like, I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing this for them.
Because I'm a human being, and I'm a grown up, and I'm a person.
Yes.
Who loves my offspring.
Yep.
And knowing Dwaylen as long as I have, I know Dwaylen is one of the best fathers you could ever meet, period. And I can say that.
I can tell.
I mean,
I can tell. His daughter get a run in twice on the podcast, and he showed that softer side. He had her on the lap. Like, if he didn't care, be like, "Hey, I'm busy. Hit
Yeah.
hit the bricks, kid. Get out
Like,
of here.
Get out.
Yeah, dad's busy right now, right? But no,
No.
he's caring father.
I'll
Yeah.
tell everybody, being a father is the best thing that I've ever done. It is the
Mhm.
best thing I will. It's the best thing I will ever do.
Amen.
Oh, absolutely.
I tell my kid every day, you are my greatest creation.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yep. And yeah, Sinclair, you've actually met my son. I don't think you've met my daughter, but I know you've met my son.
Yeah.
And sometimes, I mean, he makes me mad if I just want to punt him through a window, but I would never do it, obviously.
Well,
But
it wouldn't be your kid if they didn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
but like yesterday, I don't know if you saw a post on Facebook. I mean, we had what he started referring to when he was about 3 years old as a man day, when it was just me and him going out and doing, whatever. So I mean, we started like one of his favorite places to eat, Waffle House. He loves Waffle House, so went to Waffle House. Then we went to House of Plastic, and then we went to the coolest toys on earth. I don't know if you've seen that store. There's 2 locations.
Well, that's in Marymount, right?
Yeah, one's in Marymount, the other one is in Milford. And they're both on
okay.
they're both on US 50 though. That's the funny thing.
Yeah.
But and then we went to like the Florence Mall. Never been there before. And then we went to the NWF show. But to me, I mean, that was a great day because we were able to spend a lot of quality time together. And we were both tired by the time I got home, but that's what we said, we call it man day.
And your wallet was drained.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, you can kind of tell income tax and work bonus all just kicked in recently. So
you probably needed it. You needed it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So, but I mean,
them kid dates ain't cheap.
Yeah, no, they're not.
No, they're not.
Oh, wait till they get to college.
And my daughter's 8 and she has no concept of money. But when I ask her to go pick out a toy, she always picks out the most expensive one. And I'm like, for someone who knows no concept of money, you sure know which one to grab.
I take Abby to Walmart and she's like, "Ooh, I like that." And I'm like, "Okay, there'll be $3. Which one do you want?" "Oh, can I get all 3 of them?" "No, baby, you get one." And then she wants to get mad and go find her mama. I'm like, or you could get nothing. I mean, those are the options.
Yeah. So,
when I pull that card, decisions get made really quick. Because she know, hey, time's running out. Dad's not playing. If I want this, I need to shape up.
Yeah, it's like Dad's headed to the register. I better grab one of these and go.
Yeah.
So, Dwaylen, you have any more questions?
No, I don't have any more. I'm so glad you were able to come on the show tonight and love the conversation. Appreciate your input as always.
Yep. Because we've always said, Sinclair, you're one of our favorite guests just because it's never a dull moment. Even with the serious subject, we're still able to, smile, if that makes any sense.
Yes. And shout out to you, Steve. I know this was a very, you're kind of like the oddball out in this one, and I mean, let's be real, oddball out, where you really couldn't empathize with some of the conversations that me and Dwaylen was having, but the fact that you're here at the table and you're facilitating it shows the type of man that you are.
Yeah,
and that's why I will always be honored to be a guest on you guys' show. Always.
Oh, thank you.
I've known Steve for over 30 years, and he's absolutely one of the best people I've ever known. He's one of the best guys I've ever known.
Oh yeah. I mean, and Dwaylen and I, we've never had like a moment where we were just like fighting mad at each other. We may be irritated at each other for whatever, but it's never anything serious because we can always stuff.
It wouldn't be a friendship if you didn't irritate me just a little bit.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, come on.
If I got a true friend will be able to tell me the truth and tell me my shit. Sorry, my beep stinks.
And my mom loves Dwaylen to death too, because one of the times when I was there, because I don't get a chance to go to Hopkinsville, Kentucky very often. That's where mom lives, and that's where Dwaylen and I met. But one of the last times I was down there, I mentioned, Dwaylen, I said, "Oh yeah, we're talking about doing a podcast," and I had to explain what a podcast was. And she's like, "Oh, Dwaylen." She's like, "I always liked Dwaylen. He's like one of the most polite people that every time, one of your friends call, he was always the politest." Because some people, they call Steve there. That's it. But Dwaylen's like, "Hello, hello, ma'am. Is Steve there?" And
you know why? black mamas don't play. You
No,
get
they
that
do not.
backhand.
Yeah, Dwayne's
You'll
mom
get
Exactly.
if you
Yeah.
do not come, Dwayne, you probably still. If I'm not sure if your mother's still alive, but if she's
Oh,
not,
she
God
is.
rest her soul.
She is.
Okay, you still wary of that backhand.
Yes.
You still wary
Yes.
of it. You like no
I'm
matter
almost
how,
49 years old, and it's like
Yep.
still like, oh, I tell my wife, I said I'm afraid of God and my mother, and
There
not
you go.
not necessarily in that order.
I'm
Is Terrence
36 years old, and my mother will as soon as who you talking to, boy? And I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
nobody.
Yeah.
You know, I always respect you. You know, I ain't gonna want no beef. You know, because I know that backhand's coming. So, and my mother used to
Or
be
they
always.
can, or they can cut you down, or they can just cut you to the core and never raise their
Mhm.
voice. And
Oh,
it's like,
is Terrence
and
still
it's
afraid
like,
of her?
Mama, yes, Terrence gets smacked upside the head all the time
And
because he
Terrence,
says something, and Mama's just like, pop,
oh,
and I
yeah,
and I
you
don't
see
laugh
Terrence?
because that gets you in trouble too.
Oh yeah. Oh, I don't laugh when, you know, the times I've been around Dwayne's mom, I'm just like,
It's like,
Mhm.
Yeah, it was always yes, what? Yes, ma'am.
yes, ma'am.
Yes, what? Yes, sir. When whoever you talking to, like I said, when like your mom said, Steve, when Dwayne calls you so polite, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, because even though she ain't right there, that backhand is still in that back. It's still in the back of his head.
Yeah,
It's still right
hovering.
there. And
You
he
just
feel
feel
like
that presence right there, and it's like, I better act
like
right, or
the,
it's like,
it's like the sword. I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure if you guys ever heard it. It's called the Sword of Damocles. I think it is. Something like
yeah,
I've heard of that.
I've
Yeah.
heard of that. Yeah,
or like, and that's what it is. It's like as soon as he call your moms and he ain't got that respectful tone,
Mhm.
bow, it's right there. Oh my goodness.
Yep.
That's life.
Yeah, so again, like Dwayne, I'm gonna piggyback on what I said. Yeah, thank you so much for coming on again. You know, even if it was a week after what we thought, you know, it's still a good show, and that's the part that matters.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, this has been great. And you know, we'll have to definitely when you know you're always welcome to come on the show. You know, because this is at your third time. You're our, you know, you've been on here more times than anybody else.
Yep.
Oh yeah, because I did the dweeb interview. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. I forgot.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was a forgettable one.
So so do you have any last words for anybody? Or just, you know, on the subject of what we're talking about?
No matter pretty much no matter no matter what race you are, no matter how you look like, what you look like, at the end of the day, we are all the human race, and you cut us open and we all bleed the same exact color.
Mm-hmm.
We are one race, and that is the human race. And as people, I think we kind of forget that because we get wrapped up in our upbringings, or we get wrapped up in the hatred in our hearts.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just as in the words of the great Jackie Moon, everybody love everybody.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
It's a Will Ferrell reference for you kids out
there. So I don't have anything else. Dwayne, you say you want to have
No.
anything? Yeah. Sinclair, thank you once again for coming on. And until we talk again, you know, God bless.
God bless.
God bless.